Yo, what's up guys? Hey, Adam McDaniel here with JeepRecyclers.com. I'm taking a quick minute to shoot a video to show you what steps that I would take, or I do take, when installing my Woodgrain trim on a Grand Wagoneer here. So when installing this Woodgrain trim, and most important part is successfully so it stays on, it's all about the prep. Prep is 99% of the time. The installation, of course, the 0.1% here, okay? In fact, if you've ever put it on and had it come off, I'm sorry to say, but it really goes into the prep. So this video is intended for the home DIYer as well as professional shops here. Now, if you stick around to the end of the video, I will give you qualifying questions to basically ask a shop before you give them your pride and joy to install this Woodgrain trim. So first things first, I'm going to go through all the products that I would use, but also the products that I would not use, okay? So first off, just starting with washing the vehicle, all right? Now, you have a number of options here, all right? So this right here is just a, Armor All Ultra Wax Car Wash with ceramic. This is a no-go, not ever before doing this. In fact, the prep that I'm going to outline right now is the same prep you would do for paint, okay? So if that gives you any little insight to what kind of shop to choose to install this trim right here. So never use anything like this. My personal preference is always the Dawn dish soap, always. I've had great success with this over and over again throughout the years, all right? Now, with this product, this is where the OCD stuff comes in, especially for the paint prep, you know, people that know what I'm talking about. So the bucket that you're going to use, you have to wash your bucket first, all right? So clean your bucket thoroughly. Make sure there's no contaminants in that. Clean it as well as you possibly can here, okay? And if you've used it multiple times to, you know, clean other products, or even if you've used it to catch other materials like oils, greases, that sort of thing, I wouldn't even use the bucket. All right, I would use a bucket that has never had any kind of contaminant in it outside of just regular car wash. Okay, and so I wash the bucket, clean the bucket, and then I get a little crazy, and I'll talk about this later. But I IPA the bucket too, just to get anything that's in there off. All right. You don't need tons of soap, all right? Just a little bit of soap, mix it up the way you normally mix it up, wash your vehicle, and this next part's really important. Rinse all the soap off, okay? Because no matter how good a product is, it can become a contaminant if you don't clean it all off, all right? So overly clean this stuff off, all right? So before you go to the next step, always completely go through and clean it as well as you possibly can. Now, if you are going to let it air dry, give it plenty of time, let it air dry, okay? If you're not air drying it and you're basically using a towel, something to wipe it off, you gotta make sure that towel is completely clean. There's no, it's not just sitting around the shop, it's not some kind of just dirty towel that you have, like I'll just use this, because you're introducing more contaminants. So the goal of what we're doing here is to progressively cut down contaminants as you work your way down through it here, okay? And it's easy to get contaminants and stuff. So just really be as obsessive as you possibly can, okay? All right, so the next part. All right, what kind of paper towel or what kind of wipe to use, rag to use, all right? Let's start with what not to use. All right. Paper towels that you get, cheap little paper towels at like Dollar General or, you know, wherever you might get them. These have like greases, they have other things that will add contaminants versus remove contaminants, okay? So there are actually paint prep style rags available, right? And this is my go-to right here, are these rags. And I always choose white so that I can actually see if there's contaminants on the product or on the vehicle as I'm wiping it off, because I want to be able to see anything that's on there, and I want to get any dirt, debris, anything that might basically stop the adhesion process from happening with the Woodgrain trim. Okay, now if you have a $20,000 or $30,000 paint job, this is my go-to. All right, so these are disposable microfiber rags or towels that you can get at Walmart for $20. I think you get like 50 or 60 of them. And I love these things. I use these when I store the clusters. I use these all the time. So they're a great product. You can wipe, you can clean what you're clean, toss these and not feel too bad. And you can wash them and reuse them if you want to. So there's that. Let's see. Now, after you basically do your washing, you're going to take another step, and that next step that I like to take is glass cleaner. In fact, I specifically use the Spray Away, let's see, it's called Spray Away World's Best Glass Cleaner, specifically foaming action, okay? And this basically lifts like little fingerprints and so forth that the next one will, but it's just another step in the process to ensure no contaminants are going to be in this product here, okay? So shake it up, spray it on, and as you spray it on, let it foam up and let it do its job. Don't spray it on and then just wipe it up right away. So let's see. Give it a minute, time to basically do its thing, and keep wiping until there's no dirt on your paper towel. All right. So this is a shipping table that we use. It's actually an old Snap-on car lift that we use for shipping, and I've cleaned this thing about 10,000 times trying to get out contaminants and so forth in it, and it's just not going to come out. And with that being said, I'm actually going to show you how to apply this, and I'm going to show you how sticky this VHB is and how hard it is to get off the table at the end of this video here, okay? So back to the glass cleaner. So spray your glass cleaner, all right? And wipe in one direction, all right? Fold, make sure you don't use the same thing, all right? And let's see. You can see that there is dirt and debris coming off, all right? Now, from here, what you would then do, spray it, do it again. Spray it, do it again, until this thing is clean, okay? So basically, you're looking to get this as clean as you can possibly get this, all right? Now, I wanted to demonstrate by showing you what I do until it's completely clean, but this table just isn't going to come clean. All right. Now, after doing the glass cleaning section, all right, or after doing the glass cleaning step, you're going to move to your wax and grease remover. Now, my personal preference is IPA. Okay. I feel like it's such a universal product you can use for electrical. You can use it for so many things. But when I buy the IPA, I buy it in the 99% pure, and I reduce it to what product I'm working on, okay? Now, for automotive paint, if you have a good paint job and your paint actually, it doesn't matter if it's good or not, I like to reduce to 70% because 99% can actually mess up your paint. It can create swirls, it can do all kinds of bad stuff, okay? So I always reduce to 70% on the IPA here, okay? So with that, just spray it on, let it sit, and if you have a new vinyl decal that's on, you're going to want to be a little more detailed or careful with the way you're doing this, okay? So cleaners are designed to be sprayed on and left on, but if you just put your brand new vinyl decal on there, what I would do instead of what I just highlighted is spray on your rag and your towel and wipe along that seam, okay? Basically just right above that ridge. So basically you're well, above the seam, but within that 2-inch realm that this is going to ride on. So you got about half on and half off, and so you're cleaning right where this is going to ride here, all right? So from there, again, work your way around, and your goal is to remove all the funk. Okay, now let's see. I just messed up. I just wiped it multiple times. Don't do that, because all you're doing is wiping it up and reintroducing more contaminants. So again, from here, wipe once, get all the contaminants off from there, find your other clean spot of the paper towel, and repeat the process. Okay, now this step really shouldn't take a really long time if you did everything properly and cleaned all the grease and grime off using this, okay, or using your glass cleaner. So this really shouldn't take you a long time, but it doesn't matter how long it should. It only matters what you see in front of you, all right? So if you see dirt and grease or any other contaminant coming up, then just stop, okay? Or just keep going until you don't. And that's about it. All right, so as far as, or after this step, you want to let it what's called outgas, okay? Now, when you put this product on paint, you literally have a molecular change, all right? So there's a molecular change in the paint, but there's also still little droplets that you can't see sitting on that sitting where you basically just cleaned, okay? So what you need that to happen is you need all of those to dry, and as they're drying, your paint will bond tight again, okay? So any little droplets or anything that's on there is gonna basically outgas, and after it's outgas, you're good to go, all right? So that typically takes about 30 or 45 minutes. I always give it about 45 minutes, all right? So I can't stress enough giving it enough time to outgas, okay? So if you don't give it enough time to outgas, you're literally going to put that trim on, you're gonna have like little bubbles trapped inside, and then it's gonna start to separate, okay? And even though this tape, it's almost like butyl for anybody that knows what that is, it is sticky, man. It is sticky, sticky, sticky. So even though this stuff is, in my opinion, one of the best tape you could probably ever use, if you don't do the preparation steps correctly, then you're going to have an issue. All right. So before going to this, wear gloves. I should have highlighted at the beginning, but wear gloves. Gloves. Even if you think your hands are clean, they're not clean. All right. You can wash your hands 10,000 times. You're going to still have little grease basically coming out that can affect everything that you're working on. All right. Now also be aware of what you touch. All right. So let's say you're prepping your vehicle, you're cleaning everything, and then you grab something to drink. Boom. Okay, good. Yep. I got contaminants from my drink now on there. Okay. I grab this bottle and I spray it. Whatever contaminants are on this. All right. So I actually obsessively, I clean everything before I do any of this stuff here. So cleanliness is, it's the ticket. I mean, you just can't get away from it, all right? All right, now let's go with, assuming this has all been outgassed, all right? And it's dry, it's 45 minutes later. Applying your wood grain trim to whatever section you're currently working on, there's a specific technique that you have to use to activate the actual VHB to get it to stick, but also the way you do it too. So there's curves, there's forms, there's different angles, there's your fenders have little bends. I mean, there's just so much that goes into that. So this is not a complete apples to apples comparison, okay? The point of this video is to show the steps required to get these to stick, okay? So when you're heating this up, or I should say when you're applying this, all right, using your heat gun, it's the tool that you are going to use over and over and over, and it is the main tool that you're going to use. It is just, I can't stress enough, having a good heat gun is just, it's such an important aspect of what you're doing. All right, so to pull the back end off of your trim here, I should say the cover to the VHB, what I like to do is basically just heat it up and just activate that tape so that I can now pull this off without really having a hard time. Now, when I go to stick this on, I'm actually going to kind of walk this, all right? So I'm going to put this in position. I'm going to heat this up. Now, if you have a new paint job and you have basically just a new anything, be careful with the heat too, because you can bubble your paint. So take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Now, I've seen people, some people like to use rollers, some people like to use other items. This is just, I like to manhandle stuff. That's just me. If you have a difficult time with strength in your hands or what have you, just get something smooth to be able to run over this, even microfiber. Okay, now after you got it on, what I like to do is go back and just do a nice heat run to make sure everything is in there. Now, for that curve, say for example, around that front fender, all right, and you heat it to shape it, okay, as you're doing that, you have to make sure that it's stretching and bending efficiently around that and goes flat. So if you just saw the way that I started from one section, made sure it was tight, there's no air bubbles, there's no gaps, there's none of that. So essentially, if this is the angle you're putting it over on that front fender, and you have your wood grain trim here, you have to heat it up. You got to get it in there. It has to make contact all the way through. And if you don't make contact all the way through, you're going to have issue again. All right. So again, just heat is your friend. Make sure you have solid contact and make sure that it is really on there. Okay. If you had a shop do this and they put this on and go, hey, we just finished it, you're good to go to come pick it up, we just finished like 30 minutes ago, don't. Negative, 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 no. So after it goes on, just let it sit. Give it 24 hours to sit on there. All right, make sure that you don't have any issue, you don't have any peeling, make sure you don't have, anything happening during that time, because if you have anything come up, then you can address it immediately, reactivate the trim, and get that back down again. And you won't have to go back and try to go through all your cleaning process here, okay? So make sure you let it set before driving it, all right? Again, about 24 hours before you introduce it to wind, to all the stuff that happens on the road, all right? But again, if the shop says, hey, it's good to go, or you're excited to get on the road, just let it sit, give it time, all right? And again, take your time, take your time, take your time, take your time. And I'm sorry to keep beating that horse, but man, taking the time to heat this to get it completely flush is the ticket. Now, after you get this on, it's going to cool. And as it begins to cool, it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. So if you put this on and you're a little off, hurry up and try to fix that, okay? Because if you try to fix it the next day, this stuff is going to be on there. It is stuck, all right? And when you try to pull it up here and it takes that your vinyl decal, it's going to be a bad day. Okay, so just really make sure that any little changes that you want to do, that you do it that day. Okay. Okay. Now something to add here is, if you, let's say you do all your prep work, okay, and something comes up, you got to go take care of it. All right. You're able to come back 6 hours later or the next day. You got to do all the prep work again. Okay. So you can't let atmospheric contaminants get on it during that time. You can possibly cut out some of a few steps in the beginning, but I personally wouldn't. All right, so I always make sure to start from A, go to Z, and that gives me the confidence knowing that, hey, what I just did here, it's going to stay. Okay. Something else I've heard other people do, if you want to go way over the top, which I've done before with another product, but not with our vinyl trim. That's, say, if you want to use like a 1000 grit sandpaper and just kind of run that edge all the way around so you have something to grab onto. I don't personally believe that would be required or necessary when you're about to see what I'm about to try and pull this up here, but it is an option. Okay, so if you do have concerns, my goal is to give solutions. All right, let's see now. Something as well, whether you're a shop or an individual or DIYer, We spend hours bending the trim so that you don't have to, okay? So when you get the trim, we have it all, basically, you can see, like those who receive it, we have little tape that runs across it, and we have tape covering it. The tape covering it protects it, tape running across it keeps that bend in position, okay? So the one thing that, or multiple things, but what you want to avoid doing is taking the tape off and then opening this. So this is a big no-no. So what you're doing is we worked to get the position that we need it to be in and the angle that we need it to be at to be perfect. But if it's opened up like this, you're now adding a layer of issue that it's going to create issue, okay? So what the DIYer receives is the same thing that the shops receive that are the greatest restoration companies in the world for doing this product, okay? So you receive the exact same product. There is no, this person gets this person gets this. We will only send out the very best product, okay? So with that being said, all the steps that we do before you receive it is done in a way to make life as easy as possible for you, okay? So just please know that we're here to solve problems. In fact, the function of any company or any business is to solve problems. And if you have issue with applying this trim, if you have popping up, if you have any kind of issue like that, please reach out. We are always here to help, and we are grateful for that opportunity. So just please always know that, okay? Now, this, let's see, all right. So I'm pretty strong, and this ain't coming off, man. So if the only way I can see this coming up, and I want to say something here too, is that the prep that I did on this was glass, was this, and I did not get it completely clean. I still had contaminants on it, okay? So there's still contaminants underneath this, and this stuff is on, okay? So if you put it on your vehicle with this many contaminants, I would not recommend doing that, but what I'm trying to highlight is that when put on correctly and efficiently, it will all right, I need a freaking big ass hammer to try and get this off here, okay? But I'll tell you what, this stuff is the best, period, okay? I am that confident in this product. I am that confident in what you're receiving. Now, the qualifying questions, okay? If you are going to an automotive shop and you are going to ask them to install this for you, you should pre-qualify them, okay? Now, what I mean by that is ask them, have you ever worked on Grand Wagoneers? Okay, awesome. Second question, have you ever installed this Woodgrain trim? If they say yes, great. Can I see pictures of it? Because shops always take photos of what they produce, okay? They're always gonna have photos of what they produce. If they say absolutely, awesome. Let's see the photos. If they say we didn't take photos, and I'm not trying to create any kind of negativity toward any shop, so forgive me if it seems that way. I just want to give you as much information as possible to be as successful as possible, because not all shops are exactly the same. So ask them again if they worked on Grand Wagoneers, your range. If they've installed Woodgrain trim, ask for photos. If they can't supply either, I would respectfully find another place, okay? Quick story without going too much on a tangent. You guys know we used to restore all kinds of stuff. One of our biggest sellers was the voltmeter conversion cluster, instrument cluster, okay? Now, we go through and are obsessive about every part of that thing. And a customer had it, gave it to a shop, and the shop had multiple issues with it, and we also restored a radiator, and they had issues with that. Okay, now again, I am not throwing any shop under the bus, but they said the radiator leaked, and the speedo was just, it whacked all over the place, and it just never really worked or did, all kinds of issues. So the first one, I called the shop, and by the way, we will call the shops, guys. We will speak to any shop that you are taking a vehicle to. We will pre-qualify them for you if need be. We will call them up and walk them through the process of how to do this, okay? And the thing is, we have done this hundreds of times. If you ask me to work on a modern vehicle, I will not freaking know what to do. Well, I will, but it's not the same thing, okay? So back to the shop. So he said the radiator was leaking. So I called and I said, all right, well, let's talk about it. What's going on with the radiator? Where's it leaking at? And he goes, well, let me try this, hold on. And he just tightened the clamp and it stopped leaking. So modern vehicles have a different type of clamp that go on the radiator, right? So versus our classics, even though you can still use the newer clamp on the older, he just didn't know to tighten it down, so it leaked. All right, on the cluster, he didn't know to screw the speedo into the back of the speedometer. Just screw it all the way in. Make sure it was flush. Make sure it was tight. Make sure that little gear wasn't in there just popping around. All right, so he didn't know that. I also walked him through how to troubleshoot a fuel gauge or a fuel sending unit. So this is a modern shop that works on modern vehicles, and they didn't know how to do any of those things, okay? And again, it's nothing against them. It's just there's two different types of shops you take stuff to, and you have to make sure that the shop you take it to has experience with the product that you're sending them, as well as in that era of vehicle, because it's not apples to oranges. It really isn't. Long story short, make sure you pre-qualify who you work with. Make sure that you take all the steps, not one or two steps, all the steps. Be obsessive. Give yourself lots of time to do this job. And I promise you, the outcome will be just, you'll be overly happy. But again, if you have issues, reach out. We're always here to help. Our job is to help solve problems and save the full-size Jeep. All right, again, Adam and Daniel, JeepRecyclers.com. Thanks again for the support, guys. Take care.